Hey guys, what's up? You might be wondering a couple things. First of all, why do I look like I just got out of the shower? Well, that's easy, I just got out of the shower. And B, why am I holding a dog? Well, tonight's movie is a cult B-movie horror sci-fi film from 1982, and tonight's movie is Deadly Eyes. Now, this movie has to do with giant rats that have been fed like radioactive feed, and they grew to the size of Dachshunds. The funny thing is, instead of like with most killer rat or giant rat movies, instead of using actual rats or puppets or anything like that, they decided to use Dachshunds. They dressed Dachshunds, one of these little fuckers. Oh, calm down, Rock. Oh. Yeah. They dressed up one of these guys, a bunch of these guys up as rats. Now, if you don't know anything about Dachshunds, Dachshunds are very stubborn, lazy, but very loyal and very adorable. So, I'm interested in seeing how they got a bunch of wiener dogs to dress up as rats and eat people. So, yeah, knowing how this little bastard acts, this might be either very bad or very entertaining. Let's give it a watch, shall we? Okay. So there's a couple things I left out. This movie is directed by the same guy who directed Enter the Dragon. That one of the best martial arts films ever made. And he also directed the Game of Death, which was completed with a different actor after Bruce Lee only got like 12 minutes of it filmed. But, whatever. So, this movie starts off with a slideshow with statistics about rats. And it's kind of interesting because rats outnumber humans 25 rats for every one person. Kind of a scary thought, honestly. So this is some kind of field trip, and these kids are like in high school, and they're talking about sex, and yeah, this is definitely an 80s horror flick. More talking amongst students and teachers and stuff, and so then we get to a corn plant where they're making like feed for animals and stuff, and it's been contaminated, and the health inspector's there, and she's like, look, we're gonna burn all this stuff, we're not gonna shut you down, we're just gonna burn all your shit. And the guy's like, no, please don't, I'll pay you off, and she doesn't accept the bribe. But the thing is, the rats have already gotten to the feed, and that's why she's like burning all of it, because the rats have already infested it. So the same teens that were on the field trip are at one of their parents' houses while they're home alone. Another classic 80s horror film trope. So we get the first look at one of the rats, and one of the dogs dressed up like a rat, and it's sitting on the floor like a dog, like you see dogs doing. And I've never seen a rat in real life, so I don't know if they do actually sit like that. I doubt it though. So yeah, let's see. Yeah. The acting here ranges from pretty good to pretty bad. The writing is also kind of bad. I must say, for a film so cheesy, it's actually kind of creepy and atmospheric at times. The effects in this movie are pretty cheesy. Blood, and the rats are obviously dogs. Like, there are times when you see the costumes that the dogs are wearing, like, bending. Like, the fur actually bending and folding like fabric. And I mean, they're jumping up on things like dogs. They're like they're wagging tails, and there's even a really adorable scene where they're chasing this guy, and this guy runs up a set of stairs, and the Dachshunds, since Dachshunds have really short legs, they can't go upstairs that fast, so they're like going up the stairs after him all slowly, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so adorably menacing. So yeah, the costumes here are so bad that it's kind of adorable, but also very laughable. Yeah. So, but there's there are a lot of times when you see the rats' faces, and they're obviously using like actual rat puppets at this point. But I mean, the rat puppets look kind of decent. So the lighting and camera work in this movie are really probably the best parts of it. Although the lighting has that problem I see a lot in a lot of older horror films where they didn't properly light a scene and it's so dark you can barely see anything. You can barely make out what is going on in the scene. So yeah, there's that. The sound mix here is pretty good. The music is also about half and half, you know, pretty good, pretty bad. The characters are kind of flat, but they're still a little bit interesting and they're not annoying, so those are fine. Really the best scenes in the movie are all the scenes involving the rats, and out of that it's probably only, I want to say maybe 20 minutes out of this like 87-minute long movie. Does that mean you shouldn't watch it? Well, no, because there's still enough going on with the characters that keeps it kind of interesting. Like one of the main characters, she's crushing on her teacher, trying to sleep with him. Like that's a subplot in this movie. Why is it a subplot? I don't know, but it's I guess it's interesting. Also, the guy who was Dick Hallorann and The Shining, you know, the psychic guy from The Shining, he's also in this film, which is really interesting. And then upon looking up to make sure it was him, I found out that he also, the actor also did some of the voice acting in the original Transformers, and that's also really, really cool. Of course, that does not pertain to the film we're talking about. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like The Corpse Grinders, and 10 being something like Brain Dead, Deadly Eyes is probably about a 2.5. Really, there's just a lot of blood here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting a ton of gore. Honestly, this is one of those movies that I think could get a PG-13 rating if they went out and re-rated it. I gotta say, I really like this movie, even though there's not a ton of rat action going on, cheesy rats, cheesy giant rats running around and stuff. You know, that's not going on all the time. And honestly, the movie would have been way better if there would have been more of that. But, I mean, budget constraints, I guess. Because according to what I've read, the Dachshunds could only work about 2 hours a day when they were filming. And they could only film for about 5 minutes at a time because the Dachshunds would get either tired, lazy, or they're just being stubborn. So, yeah. But I still really dug this movie, and honestly, I might pick up the Blu-ray of it from Scream Factory. I'm not 100% sure on it because, you know, the Blu-ray of it is like $25 right now, and I do not want to drop that much money on it when I can probably get 4 or 5 movies for the same price. You know, 4 or 5 movies that I've actually seen and that I actually think are really, really good for that price. But I'd still have to probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really, really love this movie. It's just a good old cheese fest. And if you guys are really into like cheesy films, I would definitely suggest you give it a watch. Also, if you love Dachshunds, you should give this one a watch. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, like my channel, be sure to like this video, favorite it, whatever you want, and maybe subscribe perhaps. I would really, really appreciate that. And check the links in the description below. There are links to things like my Tumblr, Twitter, all that, Facebook. All that is in the description below, as well as Rotten Cotton t-shirts where I get my horror film t-shirts like this, I Drink Your Blood. t-shirt I'm wearing right now. This is available on their site for like 15 bucks. It's a pretty good deal if you buy like 6 or 7 shirts, and you get it. And if they're like under 20 bucks, you can buy them all together as a package, and you get it for like 70 bucks. And it's a really, really good deal. It's where I get my Horfrum t-shirts. And be sure to check out my friend Chloe, her cosplay and makeup tutorial channel. It is in the description. She always does something really interesting, really cool. And I guess that's it. I'm signing off. You guys have a good day, good night, good whatever. Peace.